Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome on into NRRL, Nitro Realistic Racing League. Welcomes you back for 100% Friday nights. We've had round one down in Saudi Arabia already, and that has all been concluded. So tonight we are in Great Britain, the famous Silverstone track, the British home of motorsport. Then we're going to be off to Qatar next week, followed by Spain. Then we're off to Zandvoort, followed by the Red Bull Ring. Then the Gilles Villeneuve circuit, followed by a finale in the very fast and very long track of the Las Vegas Strip. From last week, Ryan Brooks, aka R-Biz, taking the win in the Kick Sauber of all cars. Great drive from him. He, of course, took pole position there as well, with Josh Finjo following on in the top three. Then it was Jim Strav, Ren, Dog, rounding out your top five. Then Wick, Dan, Kevin, Meldrum, and Big Bruiser round out your top 10, followed by, from 11th to 15th, Big Bruiser, Paul Cott, Michaela, Jabe Jameson, Perzik, I think that's his, Sheldon, and then, of course, yet to make appearances, Morari, Gavboy, Irazes, Alfie, I'll just call him Alfie, and then, of course, Connor as well. And in your Constructors' Championship, despite being a bit early to make any sort of conclusion, this is your top 10 as it stands, with Sauber, RB, Haas, Mercedes, Red Bull, then Williams, McLaren, Alpine, Ferrari, and then on no points at all, the only team so far is the Aston Martins. And so tonight, well, a bit early to make any sort of picture in the Drivers' or Constructors' Championship, so really it's going to take us a couple of rounds to know where people really are, and it seems to be one of the Red Bulls. It's Anarchy leading the way. Just going to figure out, I don't think he was with us last week, but let's go into some predictions just while we have some time here. So, in terms of drivers I've been looking out for, I was very lucky enough to be given the opportunity to actually commentate over the Formula 2s on the Fridays, and, well, Michaela has took 4 wins in a row. When last time I checked, of course, the F2 race will be tomorrow, but not broadcasted by yours truly. He's currently got 4 wins in a row, including sprints and feature races, so he will be one to look out for. Last week in this division, though, he actually DNF'd, which is just a bit of a surprise to me. I didn't quite see what happened, though. I wasn't able to quite find a broadcast for last week, so you'll have to leave that one up to your imagination. But we'll see if he can make a recovery today and get himself higher up in the grid as well. Just going to tell you where he actually was. He was actually in 8th place there, so it's surprising. He seems to be better in an F2 car than a Formula 1 car. But let's have a look at another one of these Formula 2 drivers now driving in the Friday League. It is now Anarchy here, just taking us round the Silverstone circuit, which of course had a length of 3.6 miles. He is just going through what is known as turn number 5 right now. That is entry there. You exit that at about 152 miles per hour. You then approach this at something ridiculous like about 200 or something like that, and then you have to brake all the way down. This is Brooklands and Luffield. And here we go on the exit. Then you approach Woodcote very momentarily. This is the old start-finish straight, which they abandoned, I think, since 2011. Now they use the start-finish straight, which is just before Abbey. Now through Cops Corner, which has seen a very iconic incident a few years ago. But then the other iconic circuit, well, corner straight after that, Maggots, Beckett's, and here we go now through the right-hander, now the left-hander, Chapel Curve, your next DRS zone there. The Red Bull opens that, I imagine. There you go, there is the corner behind him. Now we approach Stowe, high speed corner coming up here, break down into 6th or 5th if you dare. Look, carries the right amount of torque there to get him through the corner, but didn't look clean from there. Now this is the last corner. They call this section, I think, Club. And then, yeah, no, it's very slow, but then you have to get on the power carefully. First corner there, and it's a 127.9 from the Red Bull of Anarchy. Drivers will, of course, be following suit. There's a Mercedes already into the pit lane there. I think that is Dan or Rendog. It's certainly one of the two. Then there's going to be a Williams to the line or an Alpine. I think we'll just see if Kevin Baker... That was Kevin Baker going across the line. There's Noah 48 there with a pole time at the moment of a 127.7. And Gavboy then coming in with third place, 128.1, and Ryan Brooks there not setting a representative time at all, but this is going to be a push lap from the very quick British driver Irazes. erases, there you go, erases 007. Okay, that actually rolls off the tongue quite nicely there. Erases 007. I like that name a lot. Expect me to be quoting that quite a bit. DRS now opening, though, for the kickstart. But, of course, the winner and pole sitter from last week, can Ryan Brooks make it 2 in a row? Although Michaela might have something to say about that, but currently in 5th place in the RB there. Of course, double winner from... well, I say double winner, but pole position and, of course, winner. And then there's I Have No Grip going against the grain of his name and actually putting it into pole there for the time being. And actually just over 3 tenths ahead. Just under 3.5 tenths there ahead of Noah. So that's quite a good time. As now Kevin Baker, we saw go onto a flying lap before all those times came in the Alpine there. Just go through Stowe there. And that looks a lot better from the Alpine, but very wide when he got on the exit, so definitely suffering from some understeer there, so might want to think about just decreasing some wings here and there, or even increasing it, one of the two. But there you go, 128.1. That's just kind of been nicely in the middle there. Now I want to really see what Ryan Brooks is up to, because he's not too far behind the Alpine that just completed the flyer there, which got him up into 6th place. Let's see if Ryan Brooks is going to be up there. It's not going to be pole on his first go, it's going to be 8th place there, so down by quite a bit there is the quick driver of Ryan. I wonder what was going on there. I wonder what happened. Wonder if he had maybe gotten pitted, maybe just had a mistake on the lap somewhere that we didn't see. Certainly will be, but he'll be back again before the end of the session. I can guarantee you that. We'll want to find more pace there, as now we're looking at Josh. Just to give you an idea of where Josh was last week. If he did attend, that is... I will come back to that later. Oh, no, he was here. So he actually qualified 5th place here. Got 2nd place in the race, so he'll be looking to kind of have a better qualifying there and maybe actually contend for the win. But as Ryan Brooks certainly looks to be down here, so I'm a bit surprised by that. And even in the F2 race, I was quite surprised there. Of course, he's used to being in the midfield in the F2 field, but yet didn't really struggled at Silverstone. I was quite surprised by that. But anyway, seems like the high-speed nature of this circuit, or at least the twistier bending of it, like, and I'm trying to think about Saudi Arabia, but in a weird way, they are kind of similar circuits. You just got to think that the walls are a little closer. But apart from that, Ryan Brooks should really be right at home here, considering it's also his home Grand Prix. At the moment, we're looking at the Racing Bulls of Josh. Had a great race last week, of course, as we just said. Now, can he qualify better than 5th just to get things started for his sort of qualifying session? Let's see what he can do. Of course, many yellow flags will be waved due to slow-moving vehicles. That's 4th place for the RB for now, and that's 6 tenths off of pole. But I Have No Grip leading the way at the moment, as he is now still pole by over 3.5 tenths there. Connor just getting started on a lap himself there. But let's go have a look at Dan Lovett. Still yet to set a time. 10.5 minutes to go. Just under. He's just going through Maggots and Beckett's now. Just for Dan, qualified 2nd last week as he understeers there through what is, that corner there of Beckett's 2, I think that is. Or Beckett's 3, beg your pardon. And then understeered through there. That will have lost him probably a 10th or 2, to be honest with you, as he invalidates the lap on the exit of Stowe. But there, I Have No Grip has improved by 3 tenths. It is now a 127.1 for the Alpine driver. Rendog just came in there and went straight to 2nd with a 127.6. So I think the track is improving, as Michaela also came off a time there, 127.8. So he's now 4th. But we are still waiting for times from Connor Beattie and Dan Lovett. Certainly yet to set representatives. But Connor has just invalidated there through that section of track. So he is now going to have to wait another lap before he gets a time on the board. And time is kind of running out. You don't really want to be in this pressure cooker situation in the last minutes of qualifying. You always want a time on the board. And now, just in case if you are new to watching F1 League Racing, just to let you know, the delta on the top right only compares to the driver's session best. Oh, goodness me. And Wiz won't have a comparison on this lap now. And he is also under major pressure now to perform under these pressure circumstances. We're now going to look at Noah, who is on a flying lap, down slightly, 1600ths there on his personal best. So at the moment down, but it does have sectors 2 and 3 to try and make a recovery. Gonna have to find something magical though, and hope that Williams car can at least have the cornering grip to find improvements. Let's see, he's going through Maggots and Beckett's now. The The sector delta timing is just after Chapel Curve here, so we're now going to know where he is. He's 4 tenths up, well, 3.5 tenths up in reality. So that is not bad, 3 tenths so far, but that's not really going to bring him close to I have grip as of right now. So Sector 3 is going to have to be magical here from the Williams driver. Third place for Noah so far, going through the club corners now, and he will soon be... Oh, that's a very nice line through that second part of the corner, and now he's going to be right there! 8 thousandths he finds there to be ahead of I have no grip. And at the moment, now I have no grip, needs some grip. He is going to have to find over 8 thousandths and maybe a high 126 to guarantee himself pole. And now we look at Gavboy here. We are looking at somebody who is up on their personal best in Sector 1. We also have Big Bruiser in the background. So at the moment, 4 drivers, Big Bruiser, Dan, Connor and Wiz, not setting laps as of right now. But DGH is also one we need to look out for. Hasn't set a representative. He's currently on a 138.2. So at the moment, not one to look out for as well. Ryan Brooks as well. Keep an eye out on him. He is mighty quick. The Kicksauber might only be a minor inconvenience, but as of right now, Gavboy just found half a second there. He also improved through Sector 1, so he's not got a lot of the lap left now. Stowe corner he goes through. Don't always want to take that curb. Can be slippy. Doesn't really use the full exit either. We are now approaching the club section. This can look a little better. He doesn't quite take as much of the curb there as we saw Noah do a few moments ago. This should be a good time regardless. It is just under half a second. That's 4th place for the Ferrari driver. Now, what about Dan Lovett, who's just started his flyer now, and he's not got a lot of time to set another either. Remember, the pit lane speed limit here in Silverstone is 37 miles per hour. It takes an age to get through this pit straight, so nobody really wants to be hanging around there in the pit lane, and this is perhaps the situation you want to avoid, although he does have 6.5 minutes, so he's not in the worst position, but not the best either, as there's a Kicksauber nearly impeding the Mercedes there. I think that is DGH there. It is not. That was Ryan Brooks there with an uncharacteristic mistake from himself. So unfortunately for Dan there, well, no, I say unfortunate for Ryan there. He's probably invalidated yet another one flying lap. So really, Ryan out of his comfort zone for the 2nd time in a row that I've been commentating on this league. Interesting stuff. But we're going to currently observe the league admin here going through Stowe corner. He goes into 6th gear for briefly, then shifts down to 5th, and now approaches club corner. I don't think he would have got the best exit from having to adjust the gears like that, but let's see what he can do. Takes a very good line through there, very similar to what Noah took to get pole position. That's 3rd place for the Mercedes driver, and now we have a mighty close fight for pole with the top 3 separated by under 1/10 of a second. This could be an epic showdown as we go into the final stages of qualifying. Connor and Wiz, the only drivers now not to set a time, but Dan has set himself up rather nicely, to be honest with you. Left it late, but has made it great. And it's not over yet for that Mercedes driver. And you know what? I'm just looking at DGH now. He is... he must have invalidated through here. That was 7.5 seconds, or at least had a mistake. Better, but that's still only a 131 or 130 low, to be honest. So let's see. This is going to have to be a magical Sector 3. He might have just taken the rest of the lap slow and maybe invalidated on the next one when he had the flyer. So let's see what he can do. The Kicksauber going through the club section of the track now, and that's 14th place there. So at least puts a more representative time on the board, but it's only ahead of Big Bruiser there, who did set a time, but he's last on the grid so far. Connor Beatty there just invalidating through Aintree there. That is so rare to happen, and that's just by taking too much of the track. Connor there really struggling with track limits evidently, so he obviously the guys who didn't set a time for a large portion of the session, they will just have to watch it, because remember, if you ignore track limits during the race, you will get a 3-second penalty. You cannot serve in the pit lane. You have to serve that post-race, of course, as for those of you that do watch F1 sim racing quite a bit. You will be all aware of that already. But now we're looking at Rendog, the other Mercedes driver, trying to bring it onto pole position, or at least attempt to get close there. But he gets close to his teammate, and now all of a sudden we have an opening fight here. Well, an open fight here between 4 drivers. 2 of them are on their outlap now. Williams of Noah and the Alpine of I Have No Grip. needs some grip, as we said earlier on. As Kevin Baker is currently on a flyer. I think Connor, though, is still, although his jokes, or jokies, is currently also on his flyer. He's just going through Megan Beckett now, and I do have to be honest here. I think this is going to be his only flyer, because I don't think he'll have enough time. As soon as the Sector 3 caution waves away, we'll have a better idea of where his situation is at. But he opens DRS, 3 minutes to go, just over. This could be very close stuff. He would have to realistically stay on these tires and go for another flying lap. And here we go. So, final few corners now. This is the club section of the track. Joke is now coming to the line, and that is 16th place, and that is the slowest driver off the field so far. Connor, though, still doesn't have a time under his belt, so at the moment, we don't know where that really is going to be, unless if Connor invalidates. That is Joker's in last, and Kevin actually invalidated there, so he did not get to the line there to set another lap. But at the moment, what is Rendog going to do? Is he going to come into the pits? No, he knows the situation. He knows he needs to go out for one last flying lap. And just to kind of read some chats here, I didn't actually get chat open until just now. Just want to say welcome on into everybody. You are joining us for what is a 4-car battle if Dan can get out of the pits in time for pole position. 2 minutes to go, just over. We have Noah, I have no grip, and then Rendog as well. 3 drivers on a flying lap so far. Can Dan get out of the pits in time? Does he have the tires as well to get out in time? Keeping an eye on that pit lane in that track map, though. I don't see a green dot moving up and down it at the moment. I do see, well, I see, well, what is that colour? Like grey-green almost? I don't know. I don't quite know. Turquoise? We'll just call it turquoise for the time being. Although they call it a silver arrows. Nah, I'll call it silver arrows. So no dot related to the silver arrows going down the pit lane. I don't think Danny's going to make it, to be honest with you. There's an Aston Martin making a move, but they don't have enough time. That is Connor coming out of the pits, and they've run out of time. Connor will not get out for another flying lap in time. He is going to be dead last in the field there. I don't see why he's coming out now if he skips the track, unless he plans on doing that, although that is crazy talk there. Keep an eye on it. Yes, he's skipping the track. I can see it on the track map Delta now. That green dot is skipping a lot of track. I don't know if that's really allowed, but I have no grip. Has just come to the line. 126.9. That's about where he needs to be. Rendog is next. Let's see what he can do. No, he's half a second back. That's old tires for you. Noah has invalidated. What about Gavboy? He's just on a flyer right now. Who is next across the line? It's a Haas driver. What about Ryan Brooks here? Going slow. Ryan Brooks is going slow. He's 4 seconds off, so that was his final flyer. He's just done. He's a second off the lead. I think, unless if Gavboy or Michela can find some time, I don't think we are going to see I have no grip off of pole. I think he might have it, but then again, someone somewhere might find it late, the pace late, and make it great. We'll see, though, as there's a Haas there in front of the Ferrari of Gavboy, trying not to impede, and he has done anyway. Oh, he didn't get out of the way in time in all reality, so Gavboy's time might be affected. Qualifying has concluded with an Aston Martin approaching the line. That's not Mr. Jabe there, that was Connor there, so that proves that there was no time left. One of the Kick Saubers coming to the line as well. That is not DGH, that is Ryan Brooks, but he is not on a flyer, so he's just going to consolidate himself to the pit lane. So I think Gavboy is going to be first to the line. Indeed he is, and he's got yet more traffic, and nowhere to go. He's going into the pit lane, so unfortunately too many impediments there. We now have one of the RBs coming to the line next. That's Josh there, but that means Michela is on a final flyer. Nearly 2 tenths up in Sector 3. Sorry, Sector 2 even. Can this be pole? No, it's 5th place there. But what a boost next now. One of the Haas drivers. Is it a raise? Is 007? No, it's going to be Jokers, who is not going to improve at all. So, one of the Aston Martins next. Is that Jabe there? Indeed it is, but he's down in Sector 2. He's going to continue on, not go into the pit lane for Sector 3. And then there's a Kick Sauber behind as well. That's going to be of DGH, that's for sure, as Mr. Jabe unable to improve. So what about DGH? Up by 2.5 tenths, but only a personal best improvement. And I think that's qualifying done there. So I have no grip on pole position finding the grip, and he's done it. He has done it in his pole position for the Alpine driver there. So a big change in fortunes there. Just to give you an idea, I Have No Grip qualified 6th place last week in Saudi Arabia, but this time he makes it pole, and reverse fortunes for Ryan Brooks here. Pole position last week, but 9th place for the Kick Sauber. We'll of course just go through the results in a few seconds, but Connor there will be very disappointed. Down at the bottom, no time at all. He'll start from the back, and he will be one that needs to watch his track limits, because remember, 3-second penalty added on to your post-race time. And now we will go through official qualifying results. From 1st to 17th, we have I Have No Grip, Noah, Dan, Rendog, and Michaela coming in late there to grab that place. That's your top 5. Then from 6th to 10th is Anarchy, Gavboy, Josh, Ryan Brooks, and Kevin Baker to round out your top 10. Then from 11th to 15th is Mr. Jabe, Erases 007, Paul Cod 001, and then DGH. And with Big Bruiser rounding out your top 15. Then 16th and 17th, respectively, is Wiz and Connor, but Connor with no time on the board at all. And with that, we are just going to take a quick break here in the NRRL Discord. Well, I say Discord, but in the NRRL stream. And then let's see. Do we know when we're going to be back underway? We do not at the moment, so we're just going to take 1 minute. We're going to pop on the synthwave here, and we will be right back with you as soon as possible. Don't go anywhere. 100% race to come. Podium predictions, says Real Randy. I will just entertain that question before I go. I would say I'm going to put Ryan Brooks in there. I think I Have No Grip has good pace today as well. But I really want to see the race pace from Ryan Brooks. He will find a way to get it to the front, even when he's down and out. But he will also be happy with the podium. I've spoken to him in the past in several other leagues. He is one to always be happy for a podium, and that's where his eyes will be, despite starting in 9th. So keep an eye out for him. But I do think Noah, Dan, Rendog, and who was the other one? I Have No Grip. All podium contenders, so I really don't know. A lot of fast drivers here contending for podiums. It's going to be real tight, but I guess you just got to find out. See you in 2 minutes' time. We'll be right back with you. And we're already underway. It is on go in Silverstone. And guess what? It is a good start there from I Have No Grip. And there's some swapping positions in the background there. Anarchy up into 5th place there. And there's so driver got off wide there. That looks to be Big Bruiser. As Connor there also gets a position from all of that. He's up to 16th. Ryan Brooks already up to 7th. And there's more cars going round there. And that is wide there from about 3 or 4 in the background. We have 3 wide on the exit of the loop and through entry. The Red Bull of Anarchy and Rendog are now going side by side, but the leader stayed with Noah right now. I don't know how he's gone, but there's an RB there in the barrier. That's Michaela, and there's contacts with the Haas and the Aston Martin. That's jokes there. He's up to 9th. How's he done that? But a bit of contact there and a bit of a slide going through what is Brooklyn's there. Then through Lovefield as now there's a Mercedes, I think, fighting with I Have No Grip, losing 3 positions off the start there. What's everyone's tyres? Hard and softs for Jabe and Wiz Jokes, but everybody else on the mediums as now there's more fighting in the background. Michaela is back with us, but with a broken front wing there, losing the front right end plate there. And right now, Noah is 1.7 seconds down the road. What a start from Noah that was, going side by side into turn 1. And then all of a sudden we have, whoa, who is that? Kevin Baker trying to get along Josh there as Ryan Brooks now, all after that start, is losing out big time, but that's because he's got a damaged front wing as well as Paul Codd to the inside there, going through Village. He's then pushed along by Connor. And who's now got Raises 007 right beside him. Noah obviously takes the fastest lap, but a lot of racing as Red Dog gets a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. What a move by the Aston Martin. That is Connor Beatty with the straight line speed down the start for this straight as we are now on lap 2 out of 52. Paul Codd goes a bit late on the brakes. That allows GGH to get alongside. And already Azona has there making contact. Erase not being very 007, gonna be undercover there if you want to live up to that name, but unfortunately going right into the side of the kick Sauber there, and that is gonna means he will have to just kind of slot him behind for the time being and just wait for his turn. Jokes has also made a move there, going alongside the Aston Martin of Mr. Jabe there on the exit of Lovefield through Woodcote, and gets the move done now up to 8th position. So that is, I think, that is an 8 position improvement. So at the moment, Jokey's here is on an absolute drive so far, and if he can make up these positions on lap 2, well, how do you feel about maybe going further afield here? Miss Jokes, whose Jokeys will not have the DRS down the straight. He's 1.6 seconds away, but Ryan Brooks in the background there is going to have the DRS on Mr. Jabe here. He's going to go down the inside into Stowe. They're going to continue going side by side, but Ryan with that damaged front wing there has to go into the pits, and now the Aston Martin teammates go side by side here into the club, and I think they've just about got it done with Connor going ahead. And Arky is now the fastest lap holder with a 1:32.4. Lots of action happening at the start of this race. Lap 3 out of 52. Mr. Jabe, first, second, and third. Says no good rim. That's a prediction. That's a prediction. I've got to count it. So no good rim there. Predicting a Mr. Jabe first, second, and third there, or at least the positions he will be in at some point at this race. And if strategy works out, well, at least no good rim will be correct in one way or another. But we'll see how that all goes out, as now Connor is now down the inside of Jokies, and he has got that done there. So that is him up into 8th place, having a good recovery so far. Remember, started last and is now up to 8th on lap 3 out of 52, and has already got past the Haas driver, who's also been making their own recovery after a bad qualifying. So not bad stuff at all. Of course, a lot of it is because of potentially damage that drivers have had to go into. So yeah, Ryan Brooks, Michaela, and Rendog all having to go into the pits before lap 3. And for various reasons or another. And here we go. Let's finally have a look at the front of the field, because I Have No Grip is under pressure from Gavboy here. The pole sitter has been moved off here, as we've had Paul Codd in the wall that is that Chapel curve there. Curve even. And so I wonder what happened there. I wonder if he's had some contact, but he's back underway. No intervention required from race control, beg your pardon, virtual race control, that is. Big Bruiser just then got a 3-second penalty for track limit violations, as then Gavboy takes fastest lap of the race there. He's right up to the back of I Have No Grip, the pole sitter, who's not... Jabe got new pedals, so he's going to be like Lewis Verstappen. That's a mouthful and a half there, no good rim. Goodness me. Nice to test me, though. Thank you very much. I think I got through it okay. If I don't know, give me a rating out of 10, I suppose. But here we go. It is Gavboy now with DRS, Slipstream, and surely the battery. He's going to try down the inside of Lovefield, but no dice there for the Ferrari driver. And now there's Josh behind this as well. So do we have a top 6 battle for the lead? Well, Anarchy better get his foot down. The Alpine of I Have No Grip. They're having no grip at all through Brooklands into Woodcote. Has to allow the Ferrari through. So that's Gavboy in 4th position there on those medium tyres. At the moment, those medium tyres seem to have been a good pick there. The RB of Josh there going very wide through Cop's corner. And now through Maggots and Beckett's. These two will just go in, slot in. Well, can we finally have a bit of breather to try and talk about some strategies that we'll see unfold here? Of course, the bottom three are out of sequence. Will really need a safety car to bring themselves back into the mix in terms of a win. And Ryan Brooks will be probably very disappointed with this. He's always happy with the podium, as Anarchy has made a mistake there. Has lost a few tenths to Noah at the front of the field. So could this mean that Dan has a go on the exit of Aintree, where the next DRS zone will be? Kevin is also under pressure. Oh no, I have no grip is under pressure from Josh there in the other RB. And here we go. Let's see if Josh can make a move sooner rather than later. He's due to the dirty air. We have of course got dirty air being a big deal on this game. We currently have, of course, drivers struggling for grip, so that's why a lot of drivers go very wide there. And there's dirty air, just in case you don't know, and you might be new to watching this, but we'll come back to that in just a second, because Josh is about to make a move down the straight here into Luffield. He goes, no, Brooklands, I think it is. No, it's Luffield, David. No, it's Brooklands, David. Then it's Luffield. There we go. Josh gets the move done. 5th place for the RB driver. We've had a crash in the background. Ryan Brooks is in the wall. At the start, finish straight, Ryan Brooks. You do not see this from the British driver all that often. Down to 17th place, and again, a front wing end plate, and part of it has gone it's gone to some lucky marshal or lucky fan. So that's a bit of memorabilia they can take home with them and probably sell for thousands of pounds on eBay. And here we go now. We're going back to the battle for the top 3, but Ryan Brooks surely not going to be able to get into this fight, unfortunately. He's just going to have to, well, hope for a safety car, and there'll probably be some floor damage as well, and side pod damage. I really don't see Ryan Brooks getting back into this race, so he is going to really be annoyed with himself in that cockpit. Remember, of course, took pole position and then the win last week. And, well, fortune is not going his way this week, it would seem. Silverstone being a bit of a thorn in his side as of right now. And, well, now the championship is going to be thrown into all sorts of disarray. I will, of course, update you on that as soon as I can, although the picture has been rather thrown upside down. Thanks to Ryan Brooks, and just his start being so chaotic as well. But Dan Lovett finally has seen enough of the Red Bull, and he's had enough. He's going to make a move here, and there's contact between the two. That was rather aggressive contact as well. I don't know if they would have got away with that scot-free, and the Red Bull says, no way, you don't get away with that without me doing something to you. And they go wheel banging again, and now this could be getting even worse. This is Cop's corner. We know what happened last time when the Mercedes and the Red Bull went side by side through there. No such event though this time around, but that allows Gaffboy to get back into this. Here we go. This means through Maggots and Beckett's, there's a Red Bull, there's a Red Bull, Mercedes, and a Ferrari. Line astern with an RB at the back as well, and don't forget an Alpine as well of I Have No Grip, who really does not have any grip at all. 5 places down from his start. And looking to try and claw these positions back. It seems like his equilibrium has been found at around 6th place, so he might come into the race a bit later on. And look at this, Ryan Brooks is not too far away from being lapped. He's just been into the pit lane now on a soft set of tyres. And we'll see, well, what he's going to do with those, but he'll more than likely have to stop again. And, well, we'll see if he can get back into this with a safety car or something like that, as if Ray's now is going side by side with his teammate, I think. Joe Keys, after his great start, has not really found a way to keep within the top 10. There are 2 Haas drivers going side by side with one another. Oh my goodness me, the Haas are having a slide as there's another move with Connor and Kevin Bacon. There goes they just went side by side in exchange positions, but the Haas drivers are going at each other like they're fighting for the World Championship. Goodness me, and there's contact between the two. Erase makes contact with his teammate. Rule number 1 of motorsport: don't make contact with your teammate. Who has DRS? Neither of them, apparently. But I think that should be whizzed up into 11th place rather easily. Goodness me, what aggressive driving from the Haas drivers here, as those soft tyres will have surely fallen off. But goodness me, they are providing some entertainment, but here we go. Oh, my goodness me, Josh and Gaffboy going side by side through Maggots and Beckett's. You don't often see that. And I think the two Haas drivers are going side by side again. Oh my goodness me. Through Copse corner. What are these two doing? They are not helping their team at all. They are 4.2 seconds back from DGH in front as Jokes. They're going very wide through the section of corners. What is happening here? Have the Americans fallen apart? Are they too worried about Cadillac coming in next season? I don't know. Who will have the scoop for us on that one is now Jokes will have the DRS going into Stowe corner. But what entertainment these two are giving us, even if it is a bit like more, well, it's not F125, it's more like Wreckfest with these two. Hope you've all played that game, because goodness me, this is certainly a good representation for it. But here we go now, on to lap 8 out of 52, and we feel like we've had an entire Grand Prix already, as Red Dog and McKellar going side by side with one another through, that is Stowe corner, and now it's going to be Red Dog on the comeback. He's going to have the outside coming into Club corner, and can't do anything with it, as the Red Bull, well, the RB will have the better line going through that corner. And that's all said and done for the time being. But look at these two. They're going to DRS again. Here we go. Will we see more fisticuffs from these drivers? The two teammates are not acting like they are teammates, as Jokies was not quite close enough there, going into Brooklands. And then through Lovefield, he goes very wide indeed, but should maybe have the better exit. Will he try something going into Copse corner? Even though most people wouldn't recommend doing that for one reason or another. But no dice there, and I think Jokies with his the soft tyres as he basically does a Tokyo drift through Copse. And I think we are about to see an overtake from Dan Lovett here. Finally going to try and have second place there as Erase gets a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. And that Mercedes there braking rather late going into Club corner. Has gone very wide there. So he's just going to try and go through, settle back down. We are now on lap 9 out of 52. And this has been an amazing Grand Prix so far. This has been an absolute entertainer, a barnstormer all in one. One of the Haas drivers into the pit lane, I would imagine that is Jokies, and it certainly is now, coming off those 9-lap-old soft tyres for his first stop. So he is going to be on a 2-stopper now. Most drivers here are going to be trying to go for the 1-stop. Ryan knows that is the fastest strategy as well, but of course we already know that he's 42 seconds back from the pack, and I think has already been lapped, if he hasn't already. Or in fact, no. He's that green dot just going through Copse corner right now, just above the 2. So he's not been lapped just yet. He has kept a gap, but also keeping within touching distance of one another is actually the battle for second here, and only 2.8 seconds off the leader as Dan had to lift there through Copse to make the corner and make sure he didn't incur another track limits warning. I wonder if he's had a couple already, and that's why we heard him lift off. But here we go on lap 10 out of, well, we'll be approaching lap 10 out of 52, so it'll be 43 laps to go at the line, but DRS is now going to open for this battle for second place. Anarchy's not able to do anything about Noah at the moment, but this will be down to a game of strategy rather than a game of pace. Go on, boys, says Meldrum, F1, and as he should. This is becoming an absolutely fantastic occasion. Round 2 is bringing out something in these drivers. Lots of action up and down the field. Lap 10, we are already nearly, well, just over a fifth into the Grand Prix. And there has been many talking points so far, especially Ryan Brooks as well. Down and out of this as of right now. Needs a safety car to really bring himself into the mix, and maybe just another one to try and bring him into the mix for the podium. Remember, he always says he's happy with a podium when I've spoken to him in other leagues, and he is a long way off from that so far, but he's still on the leading lap, so that's important here. And Dan Lovett has an opportunity here going into Brooklands, but he's not close enough. He looks to the inside there to try and put off the Red Bull, but looked like he also went beyond the white line there, so that might have incurred a track limits warning from Virtual Race Control. So let's see what he can do. Just out of Woodcote he goes, and he's going to try and get close enough again. But of course, dirty air through Copse will be a big problem here, so Dan won't have the grip here. He's going to have to slow it right down, and the Red Bull go very wide there, and the RB incurs a 3-second track limits penalty for that very reason, going beyond the white line. So he's a bit of an outlier in all of this so far, but probably won't be the last driver to get a track limits warning like that. But he'll just have to hope he doesn't add on to it as the race goes on. By the way, a bit of an update on one of the drivers that started at the back. Connor there up to 7th position. As of right now, he is 6.5 seconds back from this very battle that we are witnessing right now. At the moment, looks to be on a good pace here. I think he started on medium tyres as well, so he's in the mix for this, you know. Don't count him out just yet. He might still be up for a great result, but really needs to get the hammer down now. Well, that went from 6.5 seconds to 6.7 seconds, so maybe lost a couple of tenths here and there, but seems to gain it back. He's just going through club corner right now. He'll be starting what is his 11th lap of the race. And Dan Lovett, you know, I'm just noticing with his driving style, he's taking those sausage curbs like it's no real problem. That's not the optimal way to do it. These aren't rally cars, you know, but that may not bother Dan too much, because look at the RB going on the grass there. What is the Anarchy doing there? I wonder if he's on controller as, oh my goodness me, Dan pushes him through the corner as I have no grip now, gets a 3-second penalty for track limit violations there. So he's got to try and, well, keep out of Connor Beattie's 3 seconds now. So Connor now just needs to find 3.5 seconds as all Dan there going beyond the white line there, going through cops on the exit. So Noah really has got no pressure on him at all at this current stage. 3.6 seconds. Although if Noah is to make a mistake, I promise you they will be right there with him and they will not miss an opportunity to try and fight with him. Dan Lovett still looking at the back of this RB, Red Bull, beg your pardon, as we go through Stowe for the 11th time this race. And, well, Gavboy there will be very happy with this. He's not really got any pressure on him. As all Dan there going very wide and maybe just trying to find a bit of room, because I think the RB was a bit earlier on the brakes than the Mercedes anticipated. This gives Josh a run. Of course, this is probably not going to want to fight this too hard due to his post-race penalty, but then Connor gets a post-race penalty now. 3 seconds, so he's vulnerable to Kevin Baker if things stay as they are right now. But Connor has been checking out from the Alpine, so I wouldn't really worry about that too much. If I was the Aston Martin, still early in the race, and the field still has a chance to spread out, but these 5 drivers are yet to check out from one another themselves. So at the moment, they are staying close together as the race continues to draw on. We are, of course, over a fifth into the Grand Prix. Well, I think 2/5 into the Grand Prix. No, we're fifth into the Grand Prix. I stand by what I said. We'll be approaching the halfway point in about 14 laps time, but of course that is a very long way off as of right now. As now Jokies gets a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. I told you that Josh and I have no grip would be the last drivers, as now Jokies is the next driver to fall for those. Ryan Brooks as, I think there's been an error. Red Dog has gone into the grass, going through Aintree there, as, very, very desperate on the throttle there. Is the driver there, so that's not great stuff for the Mercedes driver. He will need to try and just get things underway. He's also got a post-race, he's got a 10-second pit lane penalty, so he can, with that 10-second penalty, he can serve that in his pit stop. That's one of the lucky things about 10 seconds, although you lose time in the pit lane, but you don't have to worry about it post-race. So from there on out, it is just about how much pace you have. Bit of an update on this battle for second. Anarchy has checked out from the Mercedes behind there. Now 1.2 seconds, and Anarchy is starting to focus on bringing the gap down to the leader. Somebody said earlier it was real Randy Marsh, where he said, which lap does Anarchy DNF? Don't think that's in his mind right now, as there's a swap in the background between Paul Codd and McKellar. Of course, McKellar dominating the Formula 2 championship as of right now. He's just got into 13th place, struggling with these F1 cars, as Paul Codd there misses the brakes. Braking point there, nearly went into the back of the RB, but will continue on for the time being, as now, he's going to check out from the McLaren, surely. Yeah, there you go. Paul Codd going very slowly indeed. And now McKellar probably going to easily catch up to the McLaren of Big Bruiser in front. We'll keep an eye on that for you, but at the moment we keep observing this battle because it is one of the closest on track. The next closest one is Kevin Baker to Connor there, but Connor is trying to check out from the Alpine there, the Aston Martin driver as well, also trying to catch up to this battle, but he's having a bit of a hard time. The gap has remained in that mid 6-second range there, so I don't think Connor quite has the pace to catch up, so he's going to have to think about what he'll do on strategy, and that's what a lot of drivers are going to be thinking about as well. The only guy to have stopped, or the only drivers to have stopped, are Ryan Brooks, Jokers, Rendog, and McKellar, but that is only because of damage they incurred in only the first few laps of the Grand Prix. So they're not quite in this picture as of right now, and we need to really look at saying, well, what do? You'll want to go for the one-stop strategy because, like I said earlier on in the broadcast, as now, well, right on command there, Kevin Baker and Connor come into the pit lane to serve their mandatory stops. Now, I don't think this is going to be a one-stop from these two, so they will have to stop again. It should be hard tyres for Connor. It most certainly is. What about for Kevin? Let's keep an eye on him. Hard tyres as well for the Alpine driver, so that is something I did expect, but I don't think they're going to be really good enough to go for the one stop, as now I Have No Grip is trying to make a move on Gavboy here, but not close enough to do so as he goes through Brooklands, and Gavboy losing a bit of ground there to the two drivers in front of Josh and Dan. So here we go. Can I No Grip get back his grip, and more importantly, get back some ground to the guys in front, as Anarchy now is starting to chop into that gap. You know, it was at 3.4 seconds a couple of laps ago, but it is going down very slowly. I would say about a tenth a lap, just under. So Anarchy is starting to put the pressure on to Noah here, as now he's beginning to draw in the gap. Now, of course, they are on the same life of tyres, so I wonder if Anarchy has got some straight line speed within him to try and look after those tyres and maybe just do something in the corners just to look after them. That's certainly something that Anarchy could do, and he's definitely pacier than Dan as well. So this battle of four cars is beginning to check out as tyre life now begins to take over, and now it's more a case of who's looked after their tyres, as Anarchy is taking the lead of the Grand Prix because Noah has got into the pit lane. What is he going on to? Should be, it's medium tyres, so it's the two stop for the Williams. So he's gone from mediums to mediums. He'll have to go to either the hards or the softs for a second stop. I don't think he'll be going for a three stop. And look at how the F1 car is crawling through the pit lane of Silverstone there. 37 miles per hour, which is about, I think, 60 kilometers there. Is the pit lane speed limit here, as here we go, I Have No Grip makes his move on the Ferrari of Gavboy, and that is all said and done. So Grip now is going to be going for the third place driver of Josh. Now these two are in a genuine fight position. They both share 3 seconds worth in post-race penalties, but now Dan Lovett is surely going to be eyeing the RB, or the Red Bull I should say, of Anarchy now, still at over a second. Didn't allow Anarchy to check out too far, so I just wonder if the Mercedes is starting to cool down his engine, because remember, in this game, engine temperature is simulated. You do lose power depending on where your temperature is. If it's too low or too high, you've got to find a medium range, which is about, I think, don't quote me on this though, 115 degrees Celsius. So that's what he will have done, as now there's a lot of position swapping in the background. Kevin Baker gets past Big Bruiser for 11th, as Rendog now overtakes Paul Codd, as we have a yellow flag somewhere. We have a couple of yellow flags, actually. I just wonder if that's slow for slow-moving traffic, as now Anarchy is next into the pit lane. Looks like it's a two-stop. He's going to cover off Noah. Let's keep an eye. Noah just coming through Stowe corner now. The pit lane entry will be on his right-hand side here, and he's just going to be going through Club corner now. And I think he's gonna be ahead of the Red Bull. He is gonna be ahead. Of course, he did pit in with 3.6 seconds in tow to the Red Bull, and I wonder if that gap is going to check out by even more, because the undercut there, even by a lap, is very powerful indeed. And that is more than 3.6 seconds. In fact, there's Anarchy now just coming onto the pit lane exit, and it is a clear exit for the Red Bull driver, and yep, that is now over 6 seconds back from Noah. Look at the Williams there with absolute pace to spare. As now we look at the battle for the lead again. It raises 007 also in the pit lane onto a fresh set of mediums for the Haas driver. Has he made a stop already? No, that is indeed his first stop. So he's gone onto a set of mediums and has now got on to yet another set there. As there you go, Josh going very slowly there through Beckett's number 3, I think that is called. Yeah, Beckett's 3. And, well, nearly lost a lot of time to Dan in front, but now a lot of drivers checking out. In fact, we have a battle here for what is 8th place there, and who is trying to get past who? Let's have a look. It is Connor and Gav genuinely in a battle here, and Connor is trying to get the position here from the Ferrari, and the Ferrari will, of course, had to have used a lap to get himself back up to get his tyres up to temperature, but won't matter once we approach DRS. Gavboy, is he going to try and defend? I think so. Connor just stays behind him for now, but then waits to Stowe to go down the inside. Connor, what a move there into Stowe, and he's up to 8th place, but of course needs a 3-second buffer on the car behind, as he's got a post-race penalty for track limit violations coming his way. Once they cross the start-finish line on lap 52, as now Michela and Big Bruiser are swapping positions, but that's only because Bruiser is heading for the pit lane, and Michela is currently out of sequence with the drivers in front due to pitting for car damage in the first couple of laps of the Grand Prix. And it does feel like we've had a Grand Prix already, and yet we are having now a resurgence on strategy and, of course, on pace. So let's see what can be done. We're looking at Noah here. Going head to toe with Mr. Jabe here, who is currently up to 4th place. Is waiting for the other drivers to pit. Now, does Jabe try and defend from Noah? Yes. Ooh, I thought Jabe was going to try and defend from the Williams, but evidently not. Now goes wide through Copse Corner, and that's Noah up into 4th position here. And that will mean that he's got clear traffic ahead. So that is 16 seconds around and about to 15 seconds, I should say now. Yeah, no, around 15, 16 seconds to Dan Lovett. He should be really bringing down the pace as Dan goes for another lap on these old medium tyres. 17 laps now they have done. On to lap 18 out of 52, the Mercedes goes. Just trying to keep an eye on battles up and down the field for you, just so that we don't miss any more overtakes, as Connor there loses out again to yet another position with the Ferrari, but then cuts back on Gavboy there. I just wonder who has the better tyres in that battle. You would think it would be Gavboy, but only 2 laps old. There wouldn't be really much difference between them. It would be a difference in temperature in all reality, and Connors will be up to temperature, but I wonder if Gavs has taken a little bit longer to try and get up to their working window, because he's on his 2nd lap on those new tyres, and he's not finding it easy to check out. And that's not really a surprise, to be honest, as Connor is now, I wonder, overworking his tyres, so I wonder if they've gotten a bit too hot to handle for the Aston Martin, had a bit of a mistake there, going out of what is called Village Corner, and now that is Connor all the way to the inside, trying to defend from Gav, and he does well successfully through Brooklands. They don't quite go side by side through the corner. Connor cuts him off on the exit now, but oh goodness me, that's very wide, and that's another 3-second penalty. But the Aston Martin there tried a bit too hard to keep the Ferrari behind. Ferrari and Aston Martin are going to go side by side through Copse. The Ferrari wins out, but the Aston Martin, oh wow, oh my word, what a move from Connor, as he anticipated Gavboy going very right there. Great racecraft from the Aston Martin, but he's now going to be vulnerable to the Ferrari behind. Let's go on board with Gavboy now. He'll have opened DRS just a few moments back. Connor to the inside. He gives it up there. As now Gav will have that outside line. Will have the preferential corner treatment. But then there's Gavboy. Sorry, there's Connor again. They go side by side again. They're going to go side by side through Village. Through Club Corner, beg your pardon. And yes, they do. And it is currently now 9th and 8th place, a rolling battle these two are putting on, and it's only going to get better because the DRS zone is right in, well, it's only a few corners away, and now Kevin Baker 10 isn't too far away from this either. This is excellent stuff from these two, giving us an exciting battle. Connor may have 6 seconds in post-race penalties for track limits violations. It's not stopping him from fighting the Tifosi, though, as now the Ferrari opens DRS again. He's going to try the outside again, but Connor knows how to fight back, and now he's going to have the inside corner through Brooklands, but Gavboy goes wider. He'll have the inside line going into Lovefield, and he gets it done, but how long can he keep the Aston Martin behind? The Aston Martin quickly dives into the slipstream of the Ferrari driver, and now he's going to look at the inside for Copse Corner, and he gets it done again. Does Connor go very wide? He indeed does, and the Ferrari should have the better exit speed. He does, and it gives him a lot of room there, and that was a bit too much room going through Maggots and Beckett's there, and now Connor will have DRS again, but look who's joined this. Kevin Baker is now with us, and now Gavboy just gives him the outside line, but he'll have to watch out because the Alpine is not too far behind either, as Jabe goes into the pits, so Anarchy up into 5th place once that sorts itself out. And now we are going to go into a club corner again. And, well, there you go. There's Gaffboy taking a very similar line that we saw Noah do for his pole position lap 20 out of 52, by the way. Top 3 still yet to pit. Dan as well is going very long on this stint. He wants that one stop, I can tell you that for free. And at the moment, we are, well, we are seeing this very exciting battle, and despite all this battling, look, they are still catching a DGH in front. They got that gap down to from 4.5 seconds to 2.2. They are not too far away from the Kick-Sauber in front. This could make things very spicy. It's Gaffboy to the outside again. And I think he's got that done. But no, he couldn't quite meet the apex mid-corner. And Gaffboy holds onto it this time, going through Loftfield. But has he kept it on the exit? I think Gav there was a bit compromised. But then the Aston Martin didn't have the best exit. And I think finally for Gaffboy, I think the Aston Martin's called off the fight. But no, he's still there, look. He is still there, going through Cop's corner. Very wide through there, though. He's going to incur more track limits penalties if he's not careful. But now Kevin Baker is right on the back of all of this. And he's also stopped. He's on the same life of tyre that these two are on. There's DGH out of nowhere. Gaffboy will not have DRS. He wasn't quite within a second there. That's now, look, Connor has to go left, then right to try and find a way through. And he does. And there's DGH here to spoil the party for these three. And, well, Kevin Baker might be allowed a bit of a window to try and make a move if any one of these two drivers, all three drivers ahead of him, has a error. And now Erase gets another 3-second penalty. That's his total up to 6 seconds. And now, well, the Kick-Sauber defends. And now Connor knows, though, he's had many laps behind Gaffboy to know what to do. And Gaffboy's going to also have to try and find a way through in all of this. Does DGH fight that hard? He's got, I thought he was missing a front wing end plate there, but no, he is not. But DGH will have to DRS, and he's looking like he's in a fighting mood because he's going to open it now as Connor has to go to the inside here, down the straight. And, well, Gaffboy's going to get this move rather easily done, and he's going to try 2-in-1, and he actually met the apex there this time around. Goodness me, this is absolutely enthralling stuff. This is not a battle for the lead. This is a battle for 6th place. The next car ahead of this pack is 12 seconds down the road. What's Gaffboy doing as Baker gets a move done on the Kick-Sauber in the background and goes very wide through Cop's corner. And now into Baggets and Beckett's. We're going to see this battle reignite again. Great racing, says Belgium. It is fantastic racing. This is an absolute treat for a Friday night of F1 25. DRS opening again for the Ferrari and the Alpine. The Aston Martin, of course, will have no assistance, as will, well, the Kick-Sauber as well has some assistance, but I think they will check out from the Kick-Sauber in good time as Anarchy there takes the fastest lap of the race, trying to get onto the back there as there you go, the Kick-Sauber into the pits there. DGH, after 20 laps on those medium tyres, has said, that is enough for me. I am going to now take a fresh set of tyres, and we'll just keep an eye. We'll keep that tyre delta up there just so that we can see what tyres he goes onto. And we'll see what happens from there. But here we go into Village Corner. And then I think through the loop, which is this second part of the corner. And then, of course, on the exit, it will be Aintree through here. Fast left-hander, and that is fresh set of hards. I think DGH is also going for the one-stop, and I think that's what the top three are all doing as well. And here we go. Gaffboy again as a 10-second penalty there for Paul Codd speeding in the pit lane. No way through for the Ferrari for 6th place as of right now. But, of course, Connor there is very much out of this battle because of his 6-second post-race penalty for track limit violations. But then again, if it wasn't a track limits penalty for Connor, this will be a great fight. But it's still nonetheless great despite all of this. And the Ferrari now is struggling to find a way through. I just wonder if both of these drivers have used the best of their tyres. They are now dropping off the top 5, and it is at 13.2 seconds as Tad Lovett with a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Oh no, for the Mercedes. Needs a safety car in reality. And that is going to be heartbreak for Dan. And now Josh is also in the pit lane. So let's keep an eye on this battle for the lead here. Yeah, hard tyres. Dan was going for the one-stop there. Was Josh also going for the one-stop? Yeah, that's hard tyres for him as well. Let's keep an eye on this, though. Do they come out ahead of this pack? That might be one of the more important things. They've got to be very close to them. Oh, my goodness me. They're going to be right behind it. And these two have been getting rather aggressive for one another. Not unfairly so, just aggressive for racing. Nothing unfair, though. And that is going to be missing this race. I love Silverstone. I don't know who doesn't love Silverstone. This track always produces great racing. It produced a great race this year in the real-life Formula 1. And now in the virtual world, it is producing a spectacular race as Gavboy and Connor are going to go side by side yet again. And this is now for 4th place after those pit stops. And as of right now, Connor still fighting off Gavboy. Gavboy has been on the back of the Aston Martin for what feels like an entire lifetime. I Have No Grip leading, by the way, but of course I Have No Grip is yet to make a pit stop. But now the Ferrari's going to go side by side with the Aston through Copse. No major drama there. Gavboy's still trying to hold on to the back, but Gav and Connor must be equally as frustrated as now Kevin gets a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. That was just going through either Maggots or Beckett's or Copse. But now Dan will be thinking about making a move here, and that is I Have No Grip trying to cover off the Mercedes as well. DRS here for the Ferrari. Does he try it through Stowe? Not quite. Let's keep an eye on all the drivers behind as well. As though I Have No Grip is going to be behind Anarchy and Noah, as you would expect. Anarchy trying to bring down that gap there. 6 seconds it is at for the Red Bull driver, as now Connor gets another 3-second penalty for track limit violations. As now the Alpine is forced wide. Dan trying to fit his way through, puts the Alpine off. And now this battle between Connor and Gav is now for 3rd place. Does Josh now try and find a way through? Kevin not quite close enough to do so, so we'll see what happens there. But now look at this. The battle for 3rd is now involving a Mercedes, an Alpine, and an RB. This is a really good fight at the moment. Surely Dan on those fresher tyres, they will be up to temperature by now, despite some of the battling he's had to do. He's going to have to have brought those tyres in rather carefully. And at the moment, we are watching Gavboy here. He's trying to hold off the Mercedes just so that he can have another opportunity at Connor, but it's not going to be easy if Dan's going to keep going side by side with the Ferrari. But at least they will remember that Connor does have a 9-second post-race penalty, as Dan there with those fresher tyres gets a better run out the corner of Luffield, who overtakes through Copse, and that forces the Ferrari driver right. But the Ferrari driver can at least be reassured that he can follow the Mercedes, as he was within the 1-second window going into the detection point, and now we'll obviously activate it. But now will Kevin Baker try and have a go at the Tifosi driver? Not quite close enough to do so, coming into Stowe, but Dan has also got that gap down, as DGH is the next driver to get a 3-second penalty for track limit violations there. So that's his first one of the evening. Now we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers, or 6 drivers, beg your pardon, not on a penalty for track limit violations. And there is some battling actually going on in the background as well. But here we go. There is Josh there, up into 6th place, round the inside of Abbey Curve there. As now they are going to go into a village corner. That is Josh up into 6th place for the time being. Oh, caution in sector 2, by the way, for one of the McLarens. That is Paul Codd just getting out of the way. Nothing to worry about there, as Mr. Jabe, I think, has got another 3-second. No, that's his first there. So that is now 5 drivers. As now, here we go. Dan and Connor going to go side by side. Bit of contact between the Aston and the Mercedes here. And Connor is not really caring that Dan is a faster individual. 9-lap fresher tyres for Dan, by the way, as now Connor is right up there. Dan having to defend going into this corner, and at the moment Dan has got to go side by side through Copse, and he has to back out because, or else there would have been contact there through the corner. And there we go. They sort themselves out eventually. Oh, wowee, that was very close there for the Aston Martin and the Mercedes driver. And now Dan is getting a bit experience of what Gav has had for the past, what feels like entire Grand Prix. Contact between the two, though. Aston Martin and Mercedes making contact, as now there is a genuine mistake. That is Big Bruiser going very wide there, as now Josh gets in front of Gavboy for 5th place. And the McLaren, which we just witnessed there, had a mistake there coming through Woodcote. And now, well, Dan is going to be right alongside Connor here for what is 3rd place. He's going to be losing time. He'll be frustrated by this. He knows he is the faster car and just really needs to find a window of opportunity and hope Connor doesn't fight that back too hard. I wonder where Connor's setup is currently at. DRS is opening for the Mercedes driver, and it's now going to be looking to the outside, maybe? No, close enough to go through there. I think Dan is wise to Connor's racecraft here. Connor having excellent defensive racecraft as Rendon gets a 3-second penalty. I think that's his second of the... No, that's his first of the night, apparently, so that's 13 seconds for the Mercedes driver, who sped in the pit lane. That's why his total's at 13. As we are actually, just kind of to note, we're halfway through the race already. It has flown by at the moment, and we still have more action to come. It is not over yet by any means of the stretch. But Noah and Arky, it's going to be interesting how these two sort themselves out. As now, look at Connor there, going all the way to the left-hand side out of Chapel Curve, trying to defend as hard as he can from Dan. But, of course, Dan will be wanting to stay out of his dirty air to try and get the optimal grip. And of course, don't forget about engine temperatures as well. Remember, the longer he stays behind that Aston Martin without all the air to cool down the engine overworking due to, of course, punching a hole through the air, as now Anarchy has got that gap to the lead down by 5.8 seconds. So that gap is coming down to Noah. Noah's just going to have to start watching it a little bit. But here we go. As now, look at now, Connor forced to defend into Village. Surely Dan has the cutback going through here. Not quite, as now, well, the RB holds back for the time being. Swap in the background for Kevin Baker and Gaffboy. As now there's the other Alpine taking advantage of this contact between the two. As the Ferrari pushes off the Alpine. We need to see what's going on up ahead though. As now into Brooklands. Connor again is under attack from a driver. And it is going to be, I think, Dan holding things off. As now surely those tyres are too old to fight back, as I have no grip now finally gets past Gaffboy as well. I think Gaffboy might have just let him have that position, but now Connor's fighting back as well. Through Cops Corner, it's going to be a side-by-side battle. No contact had through there, and Dan yet again has to concede the position. Brief yellow flag was shown there as Dan now tries to really put Connor under pressure, and he's going to have to really try something. And I think Connor there was compromised. Out through Chapel Curve they go. And this surely should be Dan's now. Connor all the way to the inside. And he doesn't fight that back too hard at all. He knows that Dan has got that position. And we'll see what happens there. As there you go. Connor's tyres have definitely gone. So now it's all down to Josh. But Connor there. What a defense that was. Incredible stuff from the Aston Martin driver. Has a bit of a wiggle on the exit of the corner there. And, well, surely Josh will surely have the next go at the Aston Martin. As now 3-second penalty for Jokies there. As he now has another 3 seconds there. McKellar and Rendog, by the way, coming in for their next stops. They've had 26 laps, both on hard tyres, so they were first onto a 2-stop due to damage incurred at the start of the race. But Anarchy here is actually bringing down the gap to Noah. So Noah, of course, on the 2-stop, he's going to try and get the time back by being on the fresh tyre at the end. Oh, side-by-side battle here between the Alpines there as Kevin Baker has to slot behind his teammate, and I have no grip there. Now up into 10th, as there you go. Positions being swapped due to pit stops there, so take no notice of that for the time being. Connor, by the way, hasn't let Dan go. This is a rather enthralling battle between these three drivers. Dan there, very wide. Josh incurring another 3-second penalty for child limit violations, and Connor fights back through Backets and Backets. Yeah, no, you're not going to go side by side there too easily. Smart racecraft there from the Aston Martin. But now Dan is compromised like Connor was last lap, so Connor surely is going to have a go. Dan trying to break the slipstream of the Aston Martin. This is fantastic stuff from the drivers here, and that is all said and done there for the time being. Dan holds on, and he's still trying to really break from these two. He's trying to fight for the win of this race, which is currently being fought by Anarchy and Noah. Noah on those older medium tyres, and the hards will start coming into their own as Anarchy is now bringing down the gap. Paul Conn gets a 3-second penalty as Josh now has a run down the Hamilton straight on the Aston Martin here, but Connor's going to fight that back. I have no grip with the fastest lap of the race, but now side by side between Connor and Josh here. They are still going to go side by side through the loop but I think Connor might have No, I don't think he will. I think it's going to be the RB with DRS. No, it's the Aston Martin who had it, and now the RB is going to be vulnerable to Connor, and there we go into Brooklands. Connor gets the move done, but Josh at the moment is not going to give that up so easily. Just to give you an idea of where the penalty totals are, that is where they are. So Josh has 3 seconds fewer in penalties. As now, here we go yet again, as Erase is 007 now into the pits. At the moment, I'm just going to say this, with the enthralling on-track action there you go, Josh very wide through Cop's corner. I'm just trying to make sure we try not to miss anything, as McKellar has caught up to the back of DGH here. And in fact, this is actually a DRS overtaking maneuver, so this should be McKellar's rather easily, considering his pace in the F2 series, and he gets that done indeed. Is there any contact between the two? No, respectable room given, but DGH closing the door there at the very last moment. 10-second penalty for exceeding track limits there for Paul Codd. And I think he's actually coming into the pit lane there, but here we go, down the old start-finish straight, and there we go, Paul Codd retires from the session, but that is also the RB making a move for 10th place, 15 seconds to Mr. Jabe in front, and that is fresher tyres for you, a DGH recently pitting, so that's actually more of a pace advantage rather than a tyre advantage for the RB, as I think their DGH will indeed be too far back. There is a Ferrari as well into the pit lane. And yeah, that's Gavboy there coming into the pits. What's he going on to? He's just come off. I think he was on. Yeah, I think he was on a 2-stop, I believe. Yes, he was. So he's on a double hard strategy. So he will go to the end on those tyres. And Anarchy, well, what's he going to do? He's had 14 laps, so he's on a 2-stop, like Noah is. And well, he's brought the gap down to 4.5 seconds here. This has been an absolutely fantastic race, I will say, as McKellar takes the fastest lap of the race through. Yeah, Gavboy on the exit of the pit lane now, so that means he will have McKellar in his on his rear in a few moments' time there. Yeah, McKellar has DRS to the Ferrari, I do believe. And surely now... oh, no, he didn't quite have it. Beg your pardon there. So didn't quite have it. But Gavboy not really aware of that, as now Noah gets in for his second pit stop. And Anarchy follows suit here. So what are the tyre choices for the two drivers? It will be about a 5.3 second gap. And Dan Lovett will take the lead of the Grand Prix as he's just going through the final few corners now. Club corner, as we call that. And there you go. Hard tyres for Noah. So Anarchy, if he... Oh, Anarchy could have had the medium tyre there. I don't know if he would have been able to get to the end of the race. I think he saw how he was catching up to Noah towards the end there, as now Connor is involved in all of this and yet again finds a way past Josh. And we had to look away from that battle for a few moments just so we could catch where everybody else was at, but it looks like we could go right back to it because Connor is now ahead of Josh again, and Connor's struggling with those hard tyres as Big Bruiser gets another 3-second penalty for track limit violations. But now the RB with DRS is going to be behind the Aston Martin going in to Brooklands. Round the outside, maybe not quite, but well, he stays there for the inside of Lovefield, and that is the move all said and done. But Connor knows how to cut back. He knows his racecraft well, but he's got to remember there are faster drivers behind him. I have no grip. Just coming in for a pit stop 7 laps ago, and look at this, they're going side by side again. Cop's corner. Connor fights back rather quickly as now Josh there goes very wide thanks to that dirty air. This might give No Grip a chance to try and catch up to all of this, and Noah as well will be loving the opportunity as well to get involved, but this could hold him up as well. This might not be what he wants because Connor hasn't been caring who he's been fighting with. Even Danny kept him behind for about 3 or 4 laps, and Noah might incur the same problem if he tries to fight with the Aston Martin. Josh there to the outside of Stowe. Does he have the exit? Yes, he does, as Connor then stops him behind. Is there going to be contact? It was certainly very close between the RB and the Aston Martin. This is absolutely excellent stuff. This is on the limit, but it is all so fair. No real banging happening at the moment, though. That's the only thing that is missing from all of this. If Connor's driving is, well, no criticism of Connor's driving at all. It's been absolutely fantastic between these two. But there we go. There is I Have No Grip trying to get onto the back of the Aston Martin, trying to find all the grip he can have. Of course, it's going to be very limited thanks to this dirty air. Now, what is going to happen? Because Noah needs to realise that he's kind of not in this battle. He needs to try and take his time, but he's not going to take much of it because Josh and Connor are going side by side again, and Connor forces the RB off, and this is now starting to look like a BTCC round rather than a Formula 1 round. That was very extreme stuff from the RB. That could have ended in tears as Joe Keys is now into the pit lane. That's why there was a swap for 12th place. As now Connor to the inside. There's a bit of contact between them, I think. Although it was very on the edge, and Noah will be taking note of this. As now, I have no grip is going to also find a way through the Aston Martin. And now Noah is the Aston Martin's next victim. But the Aston Martin will have DRS as Kevin Baker gets a 3-second penalty for track limit violations side by side with Connor down this straight. Kevin knows Connor will fight this hard. Does he have the grip for the outside? He's still there. Hold your line. He goes off the track though. Connor is really aggressive, and he's at the moment kept that position, but for how long? I wonder if some of the drivers are going to take issue with this aggressive driving, and Noah is seeing his gap dissipate from Anarchy. This is really great if you're a neutral, not so great if you are Noah or a Williams supporter. This is fantastic stuff, and it's absolutely serving what is going to be an excellent 20 laps to go here in Silverstone, the home of British motor racing. Is seeing a classic open out right in front of you. Connor is now going to be under pressure from Noah because Noah is alongside. No grip. Gets the move done. That's one down. Several to go. Connor gets now another 3-second penalty. His total up to 12 seconds post-race here as McKellar and Gavboy get past Baker while he's in the pits. And Connor now side by side with Noah. How hard is he going to fight here? What has been the leader of this race? Very hard indeed. Oh my goodness me, Connor. Oh my word, as Noah gets the move done. And that might have been seat in. Well, that might have been tire fasten your seatbelts as tight as you can, because Noah there must have been under some sort of stress from that. Goodness me. And now, well, Noah's going to have an easier time getting through that thanks to his fresher tyre. Although Connor might have something cutting in the background there. He does not give up on those fights so easily. And now he is really trying to reel in the Williams driver by any means he can. But no, that is now, he's gone beyond the DRS. So for Anarchy there, he's going to have to try and get through the Aston Martin as quickly as he can, because that has helped in terms of his gap. We'll see. Well, Anarchy just needs a bit of help really from Connor, but Connor is not interested in offering any. He is fighting tooth and nail with every driver that comes across him. And the Red Bull now might need to just wait patiently for an opportunity here. Can the Red Bull deploy battery smartly here? Needs to deploy it down the straight in all reality. Here we go. Let's go on board. Who is going to make that move? Connor to the inside here. The Red Bull will have time to observe this battle, as now the Alpine will go side by side with the Aston Martin. But again, thanks to that aggressive defense he's got going on, the Alpine stays behind. But now they're going to go side by side. Here we go. Down the old start-finish straight we go. Noah's already on the back of second place, by the way, as now Connor is going to try and fight that Red Bull into Cobb's corner. In fact, he will keep him behind as the Red Bull goes very wide there. And that's going to be a track limits warning from his engineer, as now Connor is going to, oh goodness me, I thought he was going to try something through Maggots and Beckett's there, but there would have been no room to do that. That would have been ridiculous, as now Noah will get past the RB of Josh there. Won't fight that as hard for sure. There we go. They're all said and done. And now Noah, despite not going on the same strategy as Dan there, is already right on the 4.3 second mark of the Mercedes in front. At the moment, we need to keep an eye on Anarchy. He's the next driver, as Connor has lost another position to the Alpine here. And I think Connor's tyres are just about done. He should not be able to really keep the RB behind. Surely at the first point of asking, the Red Bull goes right past the Aston Martin if he can, as now we have another swap here. Kevin Baker up into 9th on Gavboy there, and gets that move done rather easily now. Cut back to the battle for, between the Aston Martin and the Red Bull. It is going to be DRS opening for both, but who? Surely it's going to be the Red Bull with the better grip. He's right alongside him there. He knows he'll fight hard. Anarchy there trying to find the inside into Brooklands. Has to use the sausage curb there to try and get a bit of, oh my goodness me, their wheel banging through left field now through Woodcote. Surely the Red Bull has that moved up, but Connor knows how to fight through cops as the Red Bull really cuts him off there. And Anarchy is just getting a bit desperate, and you do wonder if this is all because there is a win on the line here for the Red Bull driver, and he's got a long way to go. He's got that 3-second gap to worry about, and there you go. Connor has been checked away by Anarchy, so now Anarchy will have DRS again, and Josh actually still has DRS to Noah as well, so Noah might still have some trouble in these last 18 laps, but this Grand Prix has flown by. It has gone at an absolute it's got an absolute flying pace as now Connor goes in to the pits for his next stop. So he was on a 2-stop here as Anarchy will have a brief scare there. He'll be like, how did the Aston Martin get past? But that is only because he is off into the pit lane. Of course, you might remember Jarno Opmeer getting a win there by going into the pit lane in the esports side of things, but I think you do get disqualified now if you try and do that. So, but do correct me if I am wrong. So here we go, DRS open for the Red Bull driver. Surely now he's got to make a move. Josh is still there as well, but I think he's just trying to keep the good two behind at bay here, which we are watching. As there you go, we saw Mr. Jabe get past his teammate who is in the pits as now Jokers gets another. Oh my goodness me, that was nearly contact as the RB there caught the RB by surprise. I don't think he expected that much cornering pace, as now the gap is at 4 seconds to Noah there. So Anarchy losing a whole bunch of time through that battle with Connor and with I Have No Grip. And, well, I Have No Grip, who started pole position down to 5th as of right now. So surely this is going to really be the end of any charge. Ryan Brooks has not had the fortune of a safety car at all. 17 laps to go, but it'll be 16 at the line. I can't maths apparently. How hard does Dan fight Noah here? Can he have his 10-second penalty removed post-race as well? Let's try and find out. Here we go though, 2.2 seconds between the leaders. Anarchy behind Josh there at 2.6 seconds. So whatever happens, Anarchy will get a podium finish if Dan decides not to go in for a second pit stop. But even if he did go in for a second stop, well, that means Anarchy would have one less car to worry about. So can he count to the back of Noah? And here we go. We're having Mr. Jabe and Michela have a fight of their own here as Michela pushes the Aston Martin through club corner. Mr. Jabe will not be liking that as his teammate overtook him just a few moments ago. Michela now right on the back of this. This is a battle once we consider penalty totals. This is a genuine battle for 7th place, actually. And with Connor in front, this is technically also a battle for 6th, as the penalty total for BT is 12 seconds. Side by side through Aintree they go. Michela with DRS on the Aston Martin. That should be all said and done. And Michela slots in front of the Aston Martin. That is 7th place for the RB driver, and now has Connor in front. But of course, Connor on incredibly fresh tyres, 8-lap old tyres. As I thought the RB there was trying to allow the Aston Martin back through, but I think there was just a bit of a moment from the driver there. So unfortunately for him, trying a bit too hard there to try and check out from the Aston Martin in front, but won't have to worry. He's got Maggots and Baggots now. You should check out relatively easy. He's taking a lot of sausage there to get away from Jabe there, but he's got a comfortable gap and gains a 10th through Chapel Curve. And in fact, yeah, there we go. That is a full-on check out. Aston Martin still has DRS, but will be of no use at all. That gap is now over a second, so won't even have any slipstream to benefit from that. And there we go. So Michela has now checked out from the Aston Martin behind, and there's another Aston Martin in front, but on fresher tyres, he will start getting away. Now, what Michela needs to do is keep within 9 seconds of Connor in front. Michela with 3 seconds in penalties, and Connor with 13 seconds in, well, 12 seconds, beg your pardon. So that's the 9-second gap, as Gavboy gets a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. Caution in sector 2 for one of the Haas drivers. That is Jokies there. Having a bit of a moment through. What is that? I think that was actually the old. Yeah, that was Cops Corner, beg your pardon. I think Ryan Brooks has caught. Goodness me, Ryan Brooks has caught up to another vehicle. My goodness me. Well, he did it. Chat, he did it. he did it. He actually caught up to somebody else. So now Ryan Brooks involved in a genuine battle for 14th place. And he'll be thinking, hey, hang on a minute, I'll have some of this. Thank you very much. And now he's going to probably have DRS at the next point of call. And just to keep you updated on the battle, with 15 laps to go, the battle for the lead is now down to a second. We'll cut to that in a few moments' time. But let's see if Ryan can make a move on the Haas in front of him. Well, to be honest with you, it shouldn't really be a competition of this magnitude. Jokis has got by far and away the fresher tyres in this scenario. And now we are going to see that Ryan Brooks will be soon on the back of him, as now Kevin Baker gets past Mr. Jabe there. That is for 8th place. Trying to make sure we give each battle some fair coverage there. As actually in the background there, that is the battle for the lead of the race there. That is Dan at the back of your frame. I wonder if Dan is going to try and contend that penalty that he has got to the stewards. And we'll see what he can do. But we'll try. We'll find out from you. Find out for you if we can after the race. We haven't got long to go. And oh, that is a moment from Jokis there. That gives Ryan Brooks the opportunity. And through to 14th place goes the Kick Sauber. Reverse fortunes from last week. Pole in the qualifying and then a win in the race. But for Ryan Brooks, it has been an absolute nightmare for the Kick Sauber, as now the Haas has a DRS in the background. But then after one, we see one overtake. Let's see another. Noah is now right on the back of the Mercedes. How hard does he fight this? Not too hard at all. And then, of course, we're going to see another battle. Anarchy on the sister team here. Does he try it on the outside of Stowe? He will. Can he try for the cutback? No, doesn't quite have enough momentum. Going through the corner and now through into what is Club Corner here. He's not going to be able to really get any momentum. He's going to have to rely on exit speed here. He's not going to try anything into turn one unless he gets a crazy amount of speed on the exit there. 5.4 seconds to Noah is the gap to Noah is the gap from here, and considering that other car as well of Josh, making things rather awkward, as Anarchy has actually incurred a penalty, so we missed that. So this win might have actually gotten away from Anarchy here, so he's going to have to really try something. He might be conceding the fact that he's lost this win thanks to that penalty. And here we go, down the inside of Brooklyn's. He tries to go, but no room for the Red Bull even. As our yellow flag, and I think a bit of contact between the two there was, and there was an Alpine there as well. Having a moment, that was, I think I have no grip. I think I have no grip was going very wide through there. And here we go now. It is currently looking like we're going to see a overtake from Noah unless Dan gets a good exit from Chapel. No, that looks like it's going to be Noah's position to have. Dan does try and break the slipstream as far as he can. And in the background there, we're seeing a move there from Big Bruiser, out of all people, making a move on Jokis there. So I wonder if he was the one who brought out the yellow flag briefly, as now Anarchy to the inside there through Stowe. And no room there for the Red Bull driver. The sister teams not playing to team orders at the moment. We are still seeing these two battle it out for what is only 3rd place. And these two aren't on the same penalty totals. So Anarchy has 3 seconds less, but I have no grip. It's starting to catch up to this as well. And just to give you an idea, he is genuinely fighting with Anarchy. So this could become a very exciting battle for 3rd place. And even more exciting if the other drivers get another 3-second penalty. Brief yellow flag again for what that looks like. Oh, it's the McLaren. Who is that? That looks like Big Bruiser. Yeah, that's Big Bruiser there. Just being lapped by the field there. So Big Bruiser, and I think both him and Jokis are down 1 lap. They most certainly are. Anarchy is still struggling to keep up with Josh, so we're going to look at the leading battle for the time being. Noah is 2 tenths right alongside Noah there, but of course, well, right alongside Dan there, right up against his gearbox. And at the moment, he is currently trying just to find a way through. But this battle is not really helping anybody. It's only really holding up the inevitable. Does Dan have the straight line speed to hold off the Williams? He might just do, as there's a Haas there, spun round at Chapel, but Noah takes the lead on a Grand Prix, and he has now got nothing to worry about if anything goes to the stewards. He's got the fresher tyres. He will check out from Dan, surely, and that win will be Noah's. What a Grand Prix this has been from Noah. Absolutely dominant stuff, and Anarchy has had to struggle and stay behind the Williams driver throughout the whole of the Grand Prix, and Dan's one-stop strategy just didn't quite pay off. Noah, an insane amount of pace, and he's made that work rather well for himself. Through Village Corner goes this battle. What is still, for at the moment, third place. I have no grip, still trying to hang on to this, but he's got way older tyres than Anarchy, so no wonder he's struggling to keep up here. As now, DRS open for the Red Bull, but despite those fresher tyres, he gets right up to the back of the RB there. Still trying to make a move. The Red Bull driver just not having any luck with the momentum, swinging his way through the cornering grip. I think Mr. Jabe has just gone for another pit stop. He indeed has. He's on his second pit stop. As now, look at this, the Red Bull and the RB going side by side through Cops. The RB has to concede for now, and that is aggressive stuff. As there's more contact between the two, and Archie wasn't aware that the RB had caught him up there and got alongside, and the Red Bull having a bit of a moment. This might allow Josh another go. Here we go, DRS opening for the RB. I don't think it's going to be close enough, as Joe Keys has crashed. Joe Keys has crashed at Maggots and Beckett. I don't think it's going to call out a safety car, though. Yeah, this isn't enough for a safety car, so we're going to continue racing. But at the moment there's the RB getting rather close to the sister team. But I think now that battle will be called off. And now, there we go. As I'm very, very surprised there that no safety car was called. I thought we were going to have a moment there that Ryan Brooks could say, hey, finally I can make up some positions. But no, the safe virtual race control just clear up the incident, and racing is allowed to continue. 10 laps to go. Safety car is on reduced as well, so don't forget that. But these two providing an excellent battle. In fact, some battles up and down the field. Rendog makes a move on Gavboy there. That is ninth place, and of course, well, disappointing Grand Prix for Rendog, down 5 positions. Qualified 4th place, and is just not having the best Grand Prix, but has got ahead of Gavboy, and has now got nearly 12 seconds to Kevin Baker in front there. Josh and I have no grip, are about to do battle again with Anarchy as well. Anarchy just dropping back from all of this. He's not really had a great second stint here on these tyres. Not quite working out for him is Anarchy. Well, he's had 2 stops, beg your pardon. He's not on a 1 stop there, so really wants to try and be catch up to Dan Lovett. But of course, the battling from Josh and I have no grip would not be helping matters at all. As now, well, Alpine and the RB both have DRS, so no grip there. Won't have had any sort of benefit to try and catch up to the back of the RB. But there we go. It's all said and done. So let's have a little bit of a recap before we go into these final laps. At the moment, Connor is having a great race, but has a major penalty to serve at the end of this race. At the moment, he will hold on to 7th place as things stand right now. So not a bad result in all things considered, but it's track limits discipline with all his aggression, despite the racing being exciting, of course. Take nothing away from Connor. Certainly something to work on there for the team. And in actual fact, beg your pardon, I've read the gaps all wrong, I think, because Kevin Baker will take away 8th place from Connor as well. So in actual fact, it'll be 8th place. Sorry, it'll be 7th place Kevin takes away from Connor as things stand right now. So the gap is at around 5 seconds. So that means Connor will be relegated down to 8th place. He'll go behind McKellar and Kevin Baker. And Rendog is just too far back to try and take advantage of that. And he has a 3-second penalty to boot as well. So needs to be within 9 seconds. And that's not going to happen so easily. He has got about so it's 15, and that's about, 19 seconds that he has got. So he's got to find 10 seconds in the next 9 laps and then try something from there. But at the moment, we are watching the battle for 4th place, which is not genuine. So at the moment, 3 seconds more penalties for Josh there. He's going to lose out fourth when the race comes to an end. But luckily, he doesn't have to worry about Connor or McKellar behind, unless if a late safety car is to be called out. So at the moment, really, let's have a look at... Let's see, 7 seconds. Anarchy is at the moment in good stead to actually take second place away from Dan as well. But I don't know if Dan's going to try and appeal that 10 seconds. Unless if a safety car comes out, and then we won't have to really debate much of anything at all. As all McLaren there having a big moment. That was Big Bruiser just sliding through. That was between Village and the Loop. For championship complications, I actually don't know where this ends up in terms of championship. Let me just try and bring up the table for you and see where this all stands as of right now. Let's see, because at the moment, Ryan Brooks, of course, who took pole position and the win last week, not looking good for in terms of results here. So disappointment for Ryan. As well, we're surely getting into the concluding laps of the Grand Prix. 8 laps to go. At the moment, no grip, trying to make a move on the RB, just in case if anything goes to the stewards. You don't always want to leave it to chance. DRS opening for the Alpine. Can he try and make a move? Going through Stowe. Not quite. Of course, on terms of lap, of course, thirds of tyre life, they're actually on the, just about the same tyre life. So at the moment... These two are very much neck and neck in terms of any sort of advantage. Only 1 lap difference in tyre life. I Have No Grip has got the fresher tyres, but not really by much. They've got to be about as world as each other at this point, to be honest with you. 1 lap doesn't really make a whole bunch of difference in this context. Here we go, though. Through Village they go, and surely I Have No Grip is going to try and do something. He might be even trying to plan something for the final few laps of the Grand Prix. Josh early on the accelerator there, but took a shallower line through the corner. No Grip with DRS down the straight here. And that is not going to be anywhere near close to making a move through Brooklands and through Lovefield. He might gain a bit of this gap back, but not much of it, I would say. Very cautious on the throttle. And Anarchy still not really catching up to Dan Lovett. It's still at 6 seconds, so Anarchy will still get second place from all of that. But at the moment, looks like he's struggling to really keep Dan Lovett within it. But 1.1 seconds as we have a caution here for a Aston Martin. Connor has gone off. Has had a mistake there out of Brooklands. And is at the moment now just trying to get back on at Lovefield. And his day has just gotten that little bit worse. Because now Red Dog might have a shout here. And yeah, he's just trying to get the dirt off his tyres. There is the Aston Martin. And Red Dog now might have a chance at 8th place. But he's on 8 lap older tyres and has got Gavboy for company. In terms of penalties, 9 seconds is the separation. And well, we were talking about that earlier. And that means now that Red Dog will take away 8th place. Does Gavboy take away? No. No, he does not, as things stand right now. Gavboy will not take away 9th from Connor, but, oh, goodness me. From last to 10th is not the result Connor would have wanted, considering where he was earlier on. So now McKellar and Kevin Baker have got 1 less car to worry about. And, well, it's been a decent recovery from McKellar, to be honest with you. He's had to go long on his tyres, but has 3 seconds fewer penalties than the car behind of Kevin Baker. And from McKellar, I think that's worthy of Driver of the Day stuff. That's Driver of the Day stuff there. McKellar, of course, dominating the F2 League, but hasn't had such luck in the Formula 1. As all, we have a kick Sauber in the wall. Is that Ryan Brooks? It is, I'm afraid, and he's spun round again, and he's back in the wall. Well, nearly into the wall through Baggett, and Baggett needs to try and get the car back underway if he possibly can. Allows big... Oh, disqualified! Ryan Brooks is disqualified from the session for facing the wrong way for too long. And there is your 3rd retirement of the race. Caution in Sector 2. Will this bring out a safety car? It shouldn't. In all things. Yeah, no safety car deployed. And, well, just so you all know as well, the safety point where the safety car will no longer be called out is... at the moment, 3 laps, and we are just 2 away from that. So at the moment, no stress required. Well, a bit of stress here. If somebody crashes it, Well then, oh my goodness me! And there's contact between Gaffboy and Connor. Connor fighting very hard there on the exit of Chapel Curve as he's got no front-wing end plate. He's been through the walls, has that Aston Martin. And at the moment there, I was saying no crash, and then all of a sudden I see contact between an Aston Martin and a Ferrari. Connor straight into the pits. And there you go, locking up his tyres, and a 3-second penalty for Gaffboy there for track limit violations, as now Red Dog is essentially given a free position. And, well, Connor's evening has just gone down the has really gone down the drain now. It is all over for the Aston Martin. Any sort of comeback drive has just been thwarted. 12 seconds post-race penalties as well for track limit violations. That won't have helped his case either, so he might be looking at the very back of the field. But Ryan Brooks here, disqualified from facing the wrong way. Last lap from the very corner. We just approach us now. We have I Have No Grip and Josh going side by side with one another. Josh forces the Alpine off, and at the moment now it's just going to settle down, and he's currently just going to try and find another way through. 4 laps to go at the line for these two drivers. 4 laps to go for Noah to take his first win in the Friday League. Of course, last week the honours went to Ryan Brooks, but no finish for Ryan in this regard, and now has got a lot of work to do going into next week. And Connor and Big Bruiser are now going side by side, as now Connor has another moment there. That is just going through the loop into Aintree, and there's some of the drivers he was fighting with earlier on just approaching him now. And I Have No Grip still unable to find a way through here into Brooklands. Let's just check penalty totals as we go into the final few laps of the race. Anarchy is close enough to get, let's see, what is... Hang on, just give me a moment. I will do the math. Anarchy is close enough to get into second place here. He's more than within the 7-second window. But, of course, let's look at Josh here. He might be just within a shout. He's got a 4-second separation, so he's got to find 4 seconds in 4 laps. Not impossible, but when you have an Alpine behind you battling, that's going to be very difficult. The Alpine, I don't think, will be able to bring down that gap. The Alpine, well, more likely to try and have a go at it if he can get past the RB. 3 laps to go. Once these two approach the line, Noah is just checking out from Dan lap by lap. Anarchy will take second place once the post-race penalties have sorted themselves out. But what a drive this has been for Noah. No penalties at all. The only driver to be finishing will not incur any penalties. And now, I Have No Grip as well will benefit to go into 4th place. Don't think it'll be a podium. I don't think he's close enough to do that. He's not going to be close enough to Dan as of right now, and most certainly I Have No Grip is definitely not going to be close enough to take advantage of that. But I Have No Grip, I think, is starting to check out because he's got DRS, but it's over 1 second away from the RB in front, and I think he's just conceded that because he just needs to stay within the 3-second window, and he's got that position all said and done. 1.2 seconds now for the Alpine, and that battle checks out. So that means we can have a look at another battle. Gaffboy and Red Dog have also checked out, but Mr. Jabe is also right on the back of the kick salber of DGH here. DGH has 3 seconds more in penalties, so Mr. Jabe not going to need to do the overtake, but I imagine he's going to want to anyway. But now things have settled down. We are going to be celebrating a victory for Noah here, but also we are going to be celebrating, well, a podium. Well, Dan Lovett, he will hope. Mr. Jabe, though, we're going to look at this first as Connor Beattie gets another 3-second penalty for track limit violations. DGH trying to break the slipstream from the Aston Martin by going left and right. That is all said and done. Connor Beattie, though, with the fastest lap of the race there, 1:28.856. Despite the track limit violation there, the virtual race control have decided to count that. And here we go, Aston Martin and Kicksauber side by side with one another. DGH here trying to do the best he possibly can, and there you go, it will be a cutback, very, very Connor style of Mr. Jabe there, as Connor has had yet another mistake. He's just gone off the track in loop as his teammate makes a move for 10th place. Didn't really need to do that, and well, if he finds another 1.6 seconds here, he will take away 9th place from Gavboy. So let's see what he can do as Erase is 007, as Erase is 007. Not very 007 of him. 15-second post-race penalty for the Haas driver. Penultimate lap for these drivers as now Noah is going through Maggots and Beckett's. He is now approaching the end of the penultimate lap. The final lap is the next time around for Noah, who has not put a foot wrong. The two-stop strategy wasn't the recommended one, but yet he has gone and made it work. Dan Lovett could not make the one-stop work. He will now lose second place to Anarchy, who is now 3.1 seconds as we go on to the final lap with Noah in the Williams. He's not had a lot of attention, but that just means that he has simply had a fantastic race. No dramas for the Williams at all. No track limit penalties either. This is driver of the day stuff here from Noah, as now he goes through the loop, goes into Aintree, which last held the British Grand Prix in 1962. And now he is going down one of the final straights as Connor now gets a 10-second penalty for cutting the corner. He's just trying to get the race over and done with, I think. As we now through Loftfield, Noah now is surely going to be lifting the pressure off. 6.4 seconds to Dan. He is nowhere to be found. He is in his own race. He's in his own league. Noah, Silverstone has been all yours. And now he is just Maggots and Beckett's, Stowe and Club away from taking victory. The Williams goes through the left, then the right again, then the left again. And well open DRS, but that's of no bother. He is all on his own. He does not have to worry about everything. 7 seconds to Dan behind. Stowe corner is Noah's for the last time. Now through Club Corner, Noah will make himself known as a championship contender. I think it's his home Grand Prix. And now Noah in the Williams, the British team with a British driver, wins in Silverstone. Noah takes victory here at the home of British Motor Racing. Dan has to settle for what will be third place. What about Josh here? Does he get close enough to take away third from Dan? No, but it's going to be I have no grip. Well, that would have probably had that anyway. Fourth place for the Alpine, fifth place for the RB. Then Michela going through Stowe right now. Probably been a bit of a, well, I wouldn't say that was a miserable race. Only one position down, but has had a good race with the fact that he had to pit early on due to damage to his car. So went on to hard tyres. Has had to do, well, yeah, 3-stopper from medium to hards, then to hards again. Kevin Baker will be next across the line. Gavboy and Rendog are fighting with one another, although it doesn't really matter. Rendog will take away 8th place as soon as they get to the line. Mr. Jabe in the background as well will hold on to 10th place after he went away from DGH. Of course, one of the final overtakes we saw on the track. Rendog then gets 9th, but what about Mr. Jabe? Can he take away 9th place? I don't think he can. I don't think he's going to be close enough to do so. And there you go. Connor allows his teammate through, joins him at the line, and then a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane is added onto his time as well. And then Erases 007. Well, not been a great Grand Prix for him. Well, qualified 12th. Well, finished in 12th. That's decent, all things considered, but track limits discipline will be certainly a talking point going into next week. But there you go. A 100% race has concluded for round 2 of Nitro Realistic Racing League. And it's all said and done. And by the way, first ever podium for the Red Bull. Damn, says Real Randy Marsh. Meldrum saying, well done, lads. Great race. It was a fantastic Grand Prix. Absolutely. And there you go. Noah on the top step of the podium. That is fantastic stuff from the Williams driver. An absolutely great race from Noah. Didn't put a foot wrong. It didn't see much of him. And when he did need to battle, he was conservative and knew when to overtake. And who can bring the pain? I wonder if Ryan Brooks, who of course did not finish this race due to facing the wrong way and suffered damage on the first lap, which forced him into the pit lane rather early. Michela, of course, recovered the best, and most overtakes wins to Connor Beatty, although I wouldn't give him driver of the day, to be honest with you. I'd say that goes to Noah, in all honesty. But now your unofficial results out of Silverstone, your top 10 are Noah, Anarchy, Dan, who take the podium. Then 4th and 5th is I Have No Grip and Josh, rounding out your top 5. From 6th to 10th is Michaela, Kevin, Rendog, Gav, and then Mr. Jabe. And then DGH, Erase, Bruiser, and Connor, rounding out your finishers from 10th to 14th. Then it's Wiz, Paul, and Ryan, your non-finishers for the evening. So, that is all said and done. What a fantastic Grand Prix that was, as I keep saying. Silverstone creates a classic as always, but I do think that will be, yeah, and Alfie just saying that was the worst race I think I've had. I started 12th, got wing damage at the beginning, which just screwed him over. And Dan, well, he won't be happy with the 10-second penalty there, but he now knows he wouldn't have had the win of the race there. Noah making the 2-stop work, and I'm surprised that worked as well as it did, because that usually isn't the way to go, with the pit lane speed limit being 37 miles per hour at Silverstone. Doesn't usually go your way, so an absolute great nod to Noah there. But let's have a look at the future of this season. Well, next week we are going to be in Qatar for round 3, and then after that we're going to be off to Spain. Then it's the Netherlands, followed by Austria, Canada, and then Las Vegas to round out an 8-round season. Well, that is really all we've got for you today. I don't think we're going to have any post-race interviews, just because it is very late in the day. It is nearly 10 to 10, so I think we're all going to just kind of wrap up and just go our separate ways for the rest of the night. So, I just want to say, from wherever you may be in the world, from ourselves at NRRL, we wish you a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Stay safe, stay alive. We'll be back, I think, either tomorrow or Sunday for the F2 League, which, of course, tomorrow. And then, of course, on Sunday, it is the 100% League, which will, I think, be hosted, which is going to be hosted by someone else. That won't be myself. And then, yeah, I will be back with you on Friday next week. So, I have been David. I have been your commentator and broadcaster for the evening here on the NRRL channel, Nitro Realistic Racing League, in case you need to know. And, yeah, it's been my absolute pleasure. So, for tonight, we wish you all the best. Stay safe, stay alive. Very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. See you next week, or see you next time. Bye for now.